It's been an ongoing procedure here in Florida because the laws have been slow to change. Now they just finally, the legislation just passed where we can now have up to 2 ounces of cannabis in your possession and actually be able to smoke the flower now, which for patients is going to be huge in the state of Florida.
Where is this?
This is here in the state of Florida.
That's just
in
for
Florida.
patients, though, right?
Correct. It's just for patients right now.
Right.
Okay.
We're probably looking at the recreational aspect of it coming up soon. A couple different things could happen. The president could go ahead and wave his magic wand for re-election purposes and go ahead and legalize it. The governor
Nationwide?
Nationwide.
Right.
Nationwide.
That would help him get elected again.
Absolutely. Well, we have it's ridiculous. We have 14 states right now that have it legalized in some way, recreational or medical.
Right.
When you look at some of the dynamics and you start doing the math, I initially getting into this wanted a bigger picture of the economics that are involved. So I go to one of the first areas that ever started being sold recreationally, which was Denver, Colorado.
Right.
And it was amazing when you look at this Denver, small city, kind of a microcosm of 5 million people. Their tourism was around 27,000 people a year on average. After cannabis became legal, that went to 77,000. To date, now I went out there and I spoke to Chief Brown with your Aurora Police Department. The Aurora Police Department is the largest police department in Denver. So I went there and actually spoke to him and asked him about, hey, is there anything positive that's coming out of this? And he refused to really wave the flag on the positive side. He said, listen, the people here have voted on this. I'm here to support what the people wanted, but I will tell you this. We have 28 new cars, patrol cars, that we didn't have before. We have 3 new high schools that are going up now. The teachers have gotten the pay they deserve. The economy, just in this one microcosm, from 2014 to current, is about $1.5 billion just to that area alone. So when you start to look at the infrastructure and what's really taking place, it's a dynamic. It's a change in entrepreneurship. It's a change in the way we look at certain ways to relax and enjoy ourselves. When I looked at the bigger picture, they had obviously it was 420 was coming up, and the chief said, "Well, if you're staying here for 420, I suggest you go out." He put me out with one of his sergeants, and I met him the next day.
This is in Denver?
This is in Denver.
Okay.
And the funny part was that when I got there to help him kind of unload, he said, "Hey, do me a favor, grab that big box of Doritos right there." And I just kind of laughed. I said, "You're kidding, right?" He's like, "No, dude, really, who doesn't want to smoke a joint and eat a bag of Doritos?"
True.
And I said, "Sarge, we need to have a talk. I really need to understand where you're coming from." He said, "This has really been good for the economy here, man." He goes, "What you're going to see this afternoon is they'll have a big smoke out here." And he goes, "If you look around, there's probably about almost 100 new restaurants that have popped up in the area now that we're not here anymore. So what do those restaurants mean to the city? It's more tax income for us. It's more revenue. We generate it more." Listen, he said, well-fed people are happy people. And I said, now let me ask you this, with this event going on out here today, what is the arrest record? I mean, he goes, well, listen, typically if this was a political event, he said, we'd have 5,000 people out here. It'd be crazy. I'd have to have all my officers out here.
People getting violent, right?
Yeah, but absolutely. Everybody has a stand.
Right.
And so he said, I'd have to have the sheriff's department out here. We'd have to have a paddy wagon set up. I've got to make sure there's room at the jail. So I said, so you're probably talking, 100 plus officers, deputies. He said, oh, absolutely. So look at all the overtime that's incurred. Look at all the time, the space that's taken up in jail, all of these different things that are defined by what we do. And I said, so let me ask you this. With this taking place today, how many arrests will you go on? He goes, listen, other than the drunks, there'll be no arrest today.
Wow.
So again, these were all eye-opening experiences for me, looking at the bigger picture, not really ever thinking it from a medical perspective, but truly seeing now the benefits. Talking to law enforcement who have a much greater detail of understanding the THC. And when I talk to these law enforcement officers across the board, the funny part is they always start out by saying, hey, look, no one smokes a joint and attacks my deputies or attacks an officer or beats his wife up.
Right.
So it's from an educational perspective, it's been really, really interesting, to say the least.